Hi, everyone. Today I'm with Dan Ervin. Dan is one of our contributing authors for the Mortgage Manager Mastery, a sales book for mortgage leaders new and experienced in the mortgage industry. Dan wrote a terrific chapter I highly recommend it. Decide with confidence, leading under pressure. Dan is the mortgage sales director at First Merchant Bank. He has a long history in the mortgage banking business from level one to MB Financial. Dan, thanks for joining me today. I loved your chapter and I want you to share kind of like the one big idea that you have that you want to share with our readers and listeners today.
Well, thanks for having me on, Pat. First and foremost, really excited about the book, and thank you for including me as a part of it. So this has really been a great privilege. Um, yeah, looking at the chapter and the topic, I couldn't help but think that this is leading under stressful situations. We're in a business that I think is almost always in some state of crisis, some bigger than others, but I just don't think
Sure,
a steady state, for example, really exists in our business.
true.
And so I guess of the few items that I mentioned in there, the one that I think is probably the most powerful as I look at me leading day in, day out, is this idea of doing the worst first. I think as our readers and your listeners, especially those in leadership, see when that phone is ringing or that email box is filling it up, it's usually not people calling you or emailing you to tell you how much they love you and how great you are and how happy they are. It's usually folks who have needs, questions, help with solutions, problems. And so the question that I really challenge myself with is, of all these things that are being presented day in, day out, how do you make sure that you are tackling those that are most important? And it is certainly not by doing the easy stuff first. So, the idea of analyzing your to-do list for the day, for the week, and turning it upside down, meaning doing those things that you probably put toward the bottom because they're the biggest and ugliest and hardest,
Yeah.
and taking those and tackling them first. People who are able to do that and do that consistently, I believe, are the most productive people with the highest self-esteem because they're not afraid of the difficult. And as leaders, it's frankly what we were faced with every single day. And I have known leaders, I have worked with leaders who, as wonderful as they are, for years and years, struggle
Yeah.
to confront and deal with the difficult, and they kick cans down roads that can't
Mhm.
afford to be kicked, and that these things always seem to come back much worse
Yeah, and haunt
because
you.
because they aren't dealt with. This is a hard topic because it's one of those, well, that's really easy to say, isn't it? It is easy to say. It's incredibly hard to do. In fact, I think of all the things I've ever seen from other hundreds of seminars I've attended and books I've read and thought leaders I respect, and all those ideas, this single idea to me is the most powerful idea, if implemented, that I've ever seen. Because frankly, it defies human nature.
Yeah, you're right.
Human
For
nature
sure.
is, I want it now. I want to be liked and
Yeah,
loved. I want the answer to be yes. But that is not leadership.
yeah.
That's not leadership. That's living in a dream world. While that's all nice and we all want it, the reality is the people who are willing to identify something that's difficult, prioritize it,
Hmm.
and contend with it are the people who are going to be the most productive and, frankly, the most respected as leaders. And they're going to sleep
Right.
better at night because they did the difficult yesterday, can enjoy the fun stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, which leads to the next question. What action steps can managers do to implement this type of mindset and execution?
Well, I think it does start with being organized and, on a daily, weekly basis, making sure that we've identified all the things that are in front of us, that others expect of us, that we expect of ourselves, that our team is asking for, leadership, other parts of the entities we're in. And once identifying them, then to organize around them. So you say, well, geez, Dan, isn't that painfully obvious? Well, kind of, but not entirely, because I know people who aren't organized enough to even know what all is being asked of and expected of them and what is important to others around them that they may not be putting enough importance into. So it's a process of being organized and also
Mhm.
being realistic with yourself as to what these asks and expectations are. I'm surprised often when I talk to some other sales leaders, even those on my team that I work with, that I lead, that they don't recognize some of the things as important as I do. And then when I realize that's not their problem, that's a me problem, because I'm
Mhm.
not communicating downward
Mhm.
what needs to be prioritized.
Yeah, it's not easy, as you said, because you have a lot of things coming at you. But that leads to the looking a little bit into the future. What do you think is kind of the next big opportunity or the biggest opportunities in the next few years?
Constant change has never
Hmm.
been new to our business,
Hmm.
but I do believe AI is people are saying it's the biggest technology play since the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
That this dwarfs anything that we've ever seen from the internet, from social, and how those revolutionized so much in society and business. So this is a big deal, and it just depends when we're on the precipice of something, or not even on the precipice, we're there now, that is going to evolve this quickly. There is going to be winners and losers. There's going to be those who embrace all of
Right.
the benefits and opportunities that something as powerful as AI is going to create for our business.
Mm-hmm.
And there are those who are going to suffer, who are unable to embrace, unable to be opportunistic with it. So I think that's a big deal. When we talk about things like doing the worst first, I think there are leaders and individuals in our industry in droves right now who are just kind of, parking it on the sideline, to waiting to see what happens.
Hmm.
As opposed to trying to actively learn, understand, ask the types of questions of their AI to see what kinds of answers can come and how can the benefits be there. So this is not a time and space for us to be sitting on the sideline and waiting and wondering. Our company, for example, and we're not first and by any means to do this, but we have taken on a new vendor recently that's helping us utilize AE and underwriting a lot of our files. And again,
Hmm.
not new to the business, but is this something a lot of our partners in this space are doing? Because the efficiency gains, the speed gains are very, very real.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's just one piece of it. So yeah,
Yeah, that's another topic unto itself for sure. So, any takeaways, list takeaways you want to share with our audience today?
being a leader in this business, the mortgage business,
Mhm.
is hard. It's isolating. And what I mean by that is I have found this job now for many years to be one where a lot of days, even though you may have a lot of folks you've been tasked to lead and you're constantly
Hmm.
interacting with them,
Hmm.
advocating for them, learning and sharing with them, all the things you do, there's a lot of days and times as a leader where you feel kind of alone. You take people's concerns, you take people's criticisms, their challenges, their concerns, their worries, and you try to feed them with good thoughts and solutions and help. Who's doing that for you?
Well,
So, hopefully that's your spouse, your significant other, your kids, your
yeah,
dog. But coming to that realization, because a lot of times, for these years, when I look around the room and I realize, well, this is just me here. I need some help. I'm
yeah.
frustrated. I'm concerned. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't have the answers. I need the answers. That to me, that's one of the hardest parts of leadership, is the isolation that kind of comes with that. And I think that the closer you get toward the top of any organization, man, you better just realize that's something you're buying into. That's part of why you are in the role you are, because you can find solutions and ways and people to reach out to give you that, because it's not
Mhm.
always going to happen from the folks who report to you. That's for sure.
Well, that's going to be in the next book for senior leaders. So anyway, thanks, Dan, for sharing your thoughts today. And for everyone watching today, you can certainly dive deeper into Dan's chapter by going to mortgagemanagermastery.com or amazon.com to purchase the book.